USC at Colorado. I don't know why people are dismissing this game. It's it's so funny how the national media just kind of turns its head now, right? Last week the premier game was Oregon Colorado, right? Even with the 21-point spread, right? Well, there was Clemson, Florida State, right? But it was like the national media had its eyes at Colorado, Oregon, right? What's going to happen when they face a really elite team? Well, we saw, right? But USC did not face an elite team the other day, and they didn't look so good. In fact, Arizona State was in that ball game. A lot of
Hmm.
stuff going on. We'll get into some of that as well. But Colorado, Xavier Weaver goes down. Why he and Shador Sanders were in at the end of the game when you have zero depth on this roster, it either means that Deion Sanders believes that he has depth, or that he is. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
I think part of it's establishing a culture for sure, right? It's, they were down a shit ton of points. Like it was not pretty at all. Those guys didn't deserve a break, I don't think, in that game, but also throughout the season, you got to be smart. People forget Deion Sanders is still a young head coach. This is his first year at Colorado, first year in FBS, and he's never had to deal with a blowout like that, right? In high school or FCS level at Jackson State, they never got blown out. They always had elite talent. It always had that. So they were never having to worry about that aspect of it. So I think that's something he's going to learn, right? And he's still a new coach for sure. But this is an interesting game. Like you said, I think this was the game that I thought was a little bit more interesting, I think, matchup wise compared to last week in terms of like the two teams that Colorado's going to play back to back, Oregon and USC. I think USC kind of lends itself to be able to be upset by a team like Colorado, historically at least. But this year, like we if you're a USC fan, you've been running the ball great, right? With Marshawn Lloyd, Austin Jones, and you're actually getting the pass rush. You're getting an effective pass rush, getting to the quarterback, which are two weaknesses on Colorado's roster. Which is something hopefully, those guys there, Lincoln Riley, will be able to take advantage of. What say you about this game?
Uh, I think as a USC fan, right? I mean, who isn't? Mr. Grin over there, defense coordinator. You got to be upset, right? But also, they just don't tackle well. They just don't tackle. Ready for this? Mason Cobb, highly touted, highly sought after linebacker transfer from Oklahoma State last year. In fact, I'm a Texas A&M fan, right? We know this if you've been watching the show. If not, gig them, right? It was a big miss for us. It was a big miss for us. We're starting a true freshman at linebacker. He has looked better than Mason Cobb has looked. Mason Cobb had the most defensive snaps from USC yesterday, or not yesterday, this past weekend. How many tackles do you think he had? 4, 3 on the low end. 1. He had 1 tackle. Where is this guy? He is missing holes. He's missing reads, right? He's not coming downfield. Or when he does, he flies and he totally over pursues. Like, I don't know. That guy's like a 5th-year, 4th-year guy. Like, I don't know what kind of mistakes he's making over there. But on the bright side, right? If Colorado thought that they could run the ball, I I think that USC has some guys on the D line. Right, Bear Alexander's played really, really well for them. I think. I know week 1 people like to make fun of him for that one lax play that he had, but come on. I mean, he's been good. He's probably been one of their better defensive linemen this season. Yeah, pass rush has been key for them. Negative plays, that's the key for them. Can they get those negative plays against Colorado, which Colorado is susceptible to? We know that they get sacked a lot. We know Shador Sanders takes hits. And without Xavier Weaver, without Travis Hunter, are those receivers going to be able to get separation on this USC team? My belief is, I think so to some degree, but I think if Colorado can find a way to run the ball, right? Alton McCaskill's back. I know you love Alton McCaskill. Didn't really do a whole lot last week, but no one did. You've mentioned that to me before. No one did. So can they get him, Dylan Edwards, going a little bit? I don't know. For me, I'm taking USC to win this ball game. I'll take Colorado to cover. Give me 21 the hook, right? If you're actually betting Colorado 21 in the hook, which I'm not, right? This is just a pick. You can actually get them at plus 22. So don't waste your time. I think it's on Bet Rivers and you bet. Just get them at plus 22. Be smart. Shop lines. Come on.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I'm gonna follow you there. I'm gonna go USC to win, Colorado to cover. I do think Colorado responds. I think it helps being at home this time. It helps having, you show, obviously, not that you were perfect through the 3 weeks you played and 3 games you won, but you won those 3 games. And obviously there was a lot of hype around you guys. I think it helped being a little bit more of an underdog. I think for Colorado, it's a good spot to be in if you're Deion Sanders and trying to motivate your team. It can't get worse than last week. Hopefully not, right? If you're a Colorado fan, you hope it's not. And then, yeah, like you said, I think Alton McCaskill, Dylan Edwards, you got to be able to use 21 personnel without Xavier Weather, without Travis Hunter, get those guys more involved and slow down that pass rush. If you can run the football, you can slow down the pass rush. Now, that's obviously easier said than done with that O-line that you have there. You have they talk about tall tackles and small guards. That's not a recipe to be able to run the football on the offensive line there for Colorado. But someone's got to help Shedeur Sanders. He can't do it all on his own. Like you said with Bear Alexander, their D-line's been playing okay. Solomon Byrd, right? Guys like that, that hasn't really been their problem. But at the second level, if you can get to those linebackers, you can really gash them. I think Colorado's got a chance there. But yeah, I'm not putting this quite on an upset alert for sure. I think there's a path to win for Colorado just because of how good Shedeur Sanders is. Some playmakers on the outside. God forbid if something happens to Caleb Williams or if, they just can't run the football for whatever reason. Obviously Colorado's got a chance to win, but yeah, I'm the interesting line here, I think is the over. It's at 73.5. That's such a crazy high number if you're familiar with college football over under, but it's got a chance to hit that for sure, obviously. With how explosive these two offenses are and maybe how vulnerable their defense has been this year. But yeah, look for USC to just, if you're USC, stay healthy, win by multiple double digits, and I think you'll be fine. Right? It'd be nice to see your defense play well, to tackle. You would love that, obviously, but you're not expecting crazy numbers from your defense. And if you're Colorado, just see some fight. Make sure your team hasn't given up. Obviously, Deion Sanders won't let that happen, and Shedeur Sanders, but you want to be definitely better than last year. Keep it within a 2-score game. Make it a second half that you can actually watch with a close game. Maybe those guys, and who knows what can happen in the second half football game at home, right? For home dogs, you never know.
Yeah, you mentioned how important it was that Colorado was at home. I think it's doubly important because this USC team, susceptible to penalties. Susceptible. Yeah. We're talking about through 4 games, 37 penalties. 37 penalties. It's more than 9 a game for 347 yards. That's 86 yards per game. That's the third most in the country, penalties-wise. And you're only ahead of Boston College and Colorado State. And Colorado State played in that Colorado game that was just chippy, where there were 27 penalties, right? So, I mean, there's silver lining there. Washington's right there with them. So, which is really, really interesting to see.
They had 10 penalties on the road against Arizona State last week. 10 penalties.
So here it is again, on the road again. Can they do it? I think they do. I think they win. Do they cover? Maybe.